course I had a hard time working with other actors.
I would say yes and no.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's like the gig, I think. And as a director, I enjoy the challenge.
Some actors want to direct you.
Yes, to a point that I can like work, like I have always worked with scene partners that I've had to.
If I'm not going for product, if I'm in a classroom setting, I'm just working on a piece, I often will choose actors that I won't traditionally work with or put them in roles that aren't traditionally their type, just to see what we can do and sort of burst them out of their shell a little bit. I think that's fun.
Sometimes it's hard working with other actors just because you don't understand what they're doing.
But sometimes, like if it's like personal stuff in our lives that like conflicts with that, I always try to make sure I approach something at a professional level. So therefore, like no, none of our like boundaries are crossed.
Well, at this age, people don't really know if they want to be actors. Some of them really secretly want to be directors. Some of them really secretly want to be playwrights. And what they get excited about when they're rehearsing a piece is not really in line with what an actor would get excited about, and they haven't figured that out yet. I should have a process.
I think it depends on like how big the role is and also how much it asks from me.
I mean, I've got to love the role, and if I get cast in a role that I don't love or I don't understand, that's my first thing is where does my joy come as the actor playing the role come from? What's my way in? And then usually once I find that, the creativity, the motivation to go deeper is right there.
So if it's like a lead role in something and it requires a lot of vulnerability, I take a lot of time for myself before to prep, to just get into it, to like push away all the negative things that are going on in my life and to just be in the moment.
I read the play like, if I'm doing a play, or whatever script I'm doing, I read it like 4 times.
If it's for like a small role, I'll just do some physical stuff to get my body into it, but it doesn't really require that much.
But if I am prevalent in it and committed to it and I need something to move, then I'll read the script like 4 times before. And then I just sort of try to figure out where a character goes from scene to scene, like how I can contrast where the character is at in one scene than the other. Not every actor has to think about their character arc. A lot of them want to more so let it happen naturally to them over time, and they're like, oh, this is a different setting for me now, or this is a different external situation for me now. But for me personally, I find a much more easier time approaching a role through, this is how my character internally perceives the outside world differently now than they did in the last scene. Which, isn't a very concrete explanation of how I get to do that, but it's sort of different depending on the role, depending on the director and how they want me to rehearse it, Everyone's had a hard time with the director at some point. I feel like when the director wants you to do something and they aren't making the effort to make it make sense to you. Directors get annoying like that, and they overstep and they do too much sometimes.
With those situations, I mean, all I can do is do the work, and I mean, that's the industry that we're in. We're not going to always work with people who we like, so.
I think as an assistant director for a director, that's always an interesting dynamic to figure out. And usually the director is telling the assistant, like, use your voice, speak up in the room. But then once you're in that situation, it doesn't always feel like you have the ability to. So kind of navigating that is difficult.
Producers.
And then producers, I mean, we need them. We need them so badly. But it really is, I don't want to call it a grown-up job, but I think it's really hard for college students to have all the qualities of a good producer just at this young age.
I don't know, I'm still in a place where I'm 20 and every producer I ever talk to, I feel like they know better than me about what's going on.
So as a director working with producers, sometimes you're doing part of the producer's job or filling in some of those gaps.
Student producers are probably the most annoying student theater practitioners. I'm nervous about my future after U of M. It's hard to make a lot of money as an actor. I guess I'm at a good program that connects me well, and that's more than I thought I was ever going to be able to ask for.
For this degree, no matter what school you go to, like there's a lot of questions that you can't answer until you actually like go out into the real world and you do it.
As a whole, it's a really solid program, and I've learned a lot of skills. I think it's up to me then to choose how to apply those skills to my future.
A lot of people graduate the program and don't make it anywhere for a long time, or maybe at all.
I do feel like I do have a good community. I have a good background. I feel like I have the education that I need to pursue what I want at a higher level, and to have longevity in my career instead of just doing something like a one-off little gig. Like I feel like I can do it for a long time.
It's nervous thinking I'm going to go into the world and be an actor or be in the theater, because it's not just making so much money in America right now.
But I think that's not less to do with University of Michigan and more to do with me, where I'm at, and also the idea of a theater program in general, I think is really fascinating. Because we're all studying to do, to be artists, to be theater artists, which is really cool. But then I also think about, classic artists that we study in class. And these were just regular people doing regular things who also like to express themselves through art. They also acted, they also painted. So what does it mean that we are now dedicating our whole lives to just be this one thing and to create instead of creating out of necessity or feeling?
But it's fun, and as long as it's fun and I'm eating,